Welcome to Jack's Reviews, the channel where I go through the best and worst horror movies so you don't have to. I'm Sam Jackson. Today we're going to be reviewing the remake of April Fool's Day, released in 2008. Ha! April Fools! It's 2 days late. Whilst the original was kind of a slow burn, which worked well, this one, not gonna lie, this one's a fucking drag. Frank, whatever he was called, who did the Friday movies and the original returned to this film to produce it, and apparently it was meant to be a much more bloody and realistic affair, but ended up just being so fucking boring in 21st century. The kills are way too realistic, and since the plot twist of this one's the same as the original, there is no way we could fake this for a fucking prank. Especially when all the characters are very dislikable. There's only one character that is actually kind of likable, and that's literally because she's so bland, you can't have a reason really to dislike her, which just says so fucking much. The movie was also planned originally to have a cinematic release, but it ended up going straight to DVD, which just says so much about the quality of this movie. And let's have an interesting look at that quality right now. The movie begins with an establishing shot of a massive house and a chef cuts his finger off. There's some really bad acting that can easily rival Sherry from Friday the 13th Part 3, but it turns out to be a prank. Thank God, since everyone who saw it didn't seem to give a fuck, including this butler Wilford. We also meet the main cast, including Desiree, her brother Blaine, Torrance, this weird, bland chick, desperate guy Ryan, a posh guy called Peter, and his pretty and pink wife called Barbie. No, I'm not joking about her name. Desiree makes a toast, which Blaine isn't fussed about, so he's pranked in a very unfunny joke that Torrance just fucking loves. The rest of the guests arrive and we see how posh and arrogant these arseholes are, as well as introducing the character of Charles and Milan, the form of which Desiree doesn't get along with for no apparent reason. We then spend way too long with these truly shitty characters who have no redeeming qualities whatsoever apart from Milan. And I'm not just saying this because they're rich and posh, they're honestly wankers. You're gonna see that in the very next scene, no joke. Peter starts acting up and mentions how he could rig votes and then smashes a bottle. Barbie judges Milan for helping disabled children, whilst Milan guilt trips Torrance to join her. Charles becomes a little bit of a Harvey Weinstein, Ryan stalks and spies on Milan, who is being manipulated by Blaine, as Desiree drugs her, and everyone but Torrance and Ryan can pull a prank on her, leading to her death. Wankers! Literally only Torrance is the only good character in this whole thing, and that girl has the personality of my fucking dead fish! Blaine is blamed but not arrested despite the police figuring out that he was probably the one who drugged her, and Desiree gets all their parents' money because why not? 1 year later, Charles writes a book despite the fact he helped cause her death, and then he appears to drown in a prank. We also meet a much kinder Desiree who tracks down her brother, showing her a letter, and the two head to Milan's grave. They also find Ryan and Torrance, followed by Peter and Barbie, and they get a package delivery out in a graveyard, which the delivery driver doesn't seem fussed about. There's a note threatening the group, apparently from Milan, and they see a video of Charles's death. Peter and Barbie then head off as the other four go to Charles's house, finding his body in the pool. Ryan and Torrance split off as Desiree and Blaine go to anonymously call the police. Peter then shows how much of a wanker he is, with the Carter siblings doing some detective work. We get a fake out when Barbie seems dead, but we're not that lucky, and there's a crap prank. There's a weird moment with some guy flicking electrical switches for no reason, and Barbie is electrocuted, which we literally see when some water touches an exposed wire. Desiree finds her body, but when she informs the others, her body is then missing. A cryptic text from Peter later, and Torrance has a fake out death. But it's fine since she's working on a slasher film. Coincidentally. The group figure out Peter did the murders, and Blaine finally calls the police. But they think it's a prank, and the trio go to the same set used for the pageant, just repaint into an office to find Peter. After a brief argument, Peter is nearly killed in a truly cheesy and bad scene, ending with Peter apparently being hit by the car off screen and the van driving away. Desiree follows it to what is obviously a man in a bad wig, and after an interesting chase, Desiree loses the van, only to find it again, going to Torrance's film set because why the fuck not? She mentions the two murders and sees Torrance wearing a wig. Hint! Hint! A random Blaine appears as Torrance mentions Ryan stalking her, which Blaine randomly defends him for. Alright Weinstein, calm down. The siblings leave Torrance to do more detective work, finding tons of murdery stalker stuff in Ryan's apartment, who is then murdered with a throat slit, which you can literally see, and Blaine touches a knife. The police arrive at the exact same time for some fake tension, and Desiree calls Torrance, who completely 180s her, blaming her for the murders and not seeming fussed at all about Ryan's apparent death. The siblings arrive home doing the slasher staple of splitting up. Desiree sees Milan, and finds her butler Wilfred dead, who has 2 different shades of blood colour. Okay. We find a wig and see her brother is tied to a chair. Torrance then reveals herself to be the apparent killer and ties up Desiree. She has a dumb motivation which makes no sense about her damaging her movie or some shit, and Desiree allows her brother to get shot. Torrance then whines and Desiree saves herself by admitting she's actually the one who drugged Milan so she could get all the inheritance from Blaine. That apparently makes sense. Desiree then blames everyone else for her manslaughter, and the exact same plot twist as the original occurs, except this time being 100 times more predictable and dumber. Blaine says that they planned it all out or whatever, and Desiree tries to laugh it off, but Blaine says it's basically fucked. Torrance mocks Desiree with the blanks in the gun and then fake shoots in the head, except it's a real fucking gunshot and her brains splatter all across the fucking characters. Apparently a remake needs 2 plot twists, I guess. Torrance is acquitted from a homicide charge and Blaine gets all his money back, revealing with a smile that he helped cause his sister's death. There's a crap end credit scene where a newscaster from earlier speaks positively of Desiree's death, basically laughing at her, and Charles promotes himself when talking about her death as well. And with that, the film is finally over, and thank God, because this is so painful. The cinematography in this film, I can get why this changed from going cinema straight to DVD, because this isn't the level of stuff you want in this cinema. It looks cheap, the cinematography is bad, it's basically just a static camera throughout the whole thing and it looks naff and cheap. The moments which are meant to be tense horror, similar to the originals, are just cheesy and look really funny and naff. And once again, just gonna mention it one more time, the characters are fucking shit and I want them all to die. I was honestly really sad when they did the same plot twist as the original, because I was generally going to give this movie 10 stars if they killed off all these fucking knobs. One of the worst parts as well is the fact that Desiree is the only character who has any character development and shows any remorse for the fact that Milan died, and let's be honest, from that fall, Milan was going to die anyway, so they're all involved except for Torrance, and then she dies at the end. 10 out of 10 filmmaking, you dumbasses. Once again, I just have to wonder why the hell it was Desiree's fault. No matter what, that fall would have killed Milan. She landed basically head first into a ton of glass and the fucking, marble floor. She's dead. And that's all of the characters doing, not just hers. And at the end, she's the only character who's actually become better. The rest of them are still wankers, sociopathic, and very bitter. She's someone who's trying to help people now and kind of follow in Milan's legacy. So why is she the one being blamed for everything? Basically, for that entire part, I'm saying the plot is absolutely shit. For fun facts, the guy who did the original came back to produce this one as well, and apparently wanted to make it more bloody, but that didn't really happen in the end. The score used throughout was a remix of the 1986 one, which is pretty cool, to be honest. The film was originally a direct remake of the original, following the exact same story, but was instead redone, so basically the only thing that's similar is the ending and a little bit at the beginning. The film also tried to do what the original did, even though it was kind of dark throughout, there's some very good dark comedy or light comedy moments, and they weren't very good in this one compared to the original. For the last fun fact first, something that I actually kind of liked, all the girls are wearing different colours to represent their different personalities. Desiree is wearing red to show that she's the darkest character. Torrance is wearing white to show that she's pure and she's innocent, she's nice. But at the end of the film, she's wearing a black dress to show that she's turning a little bit evil. Barbie's wearing pink to kind of show that she's a bit the pretty girl. And Milan's wearing blue to show a much kinder and softer personality. And for a homage list, there isn't really any homages in this film compared to the Friday movies. Instead, it's much more just the story's a little bit similar. There's no real shots that are recreated. Apart from the plot twist, there's really not much similar. And that's either a really good thing or a really bad thing. Now, overall, if I enjoyed this movie, no. When it gets to the first 30 minutes, I wanted to turn it off. The last film I wanted to do that for was Alien vs. Hunter. That's all you need to know. So, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this, please share to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm sorry that for my first movie comparing the original to its remake, the remake sucked ass. I promise, as we get along, maybe not with Black Christmas, but the other ones that I'm going to be doing are much better remakes. So definitely be sure to tune in for those, and I will see you on Tuesday for my Black Christmas review, which it's very positive, I'll give you that, because the original is my third favourite movie of all time. Goodbye!